So today we are going to discuss Talcott Parsons. Okay. The Talcott Parsons, I will say that it is kind of a very small portion. Okay. And the main problem with Parsons is many of the students find it difficult to understand the concepts of Parsons. Okay. What does he mean by social system? What exactly is the social system? What is social equilibrium and all those stuff. So we will try to simplify those concepts in today's session. That is the major aim of today's session. And we'll also try to learn as usual, like we'll try to understand Parsons like a story, like how or what he actually mean by system. How did he use that systems approach in analyzing society? What are the various components of that? So let's make it simple and easy to understand. Okay. And always I'll say, don't try to by heart anything in sociology, especially for the thinkers portion, because that is going to make life more difficult for you. Okay. Instead, try to understand the concept and write it in your own words. So when it comes to Parsons, we will start with the social action theory of Parsons. As you might be knowing, when it comes to that of the social action approach of Parsons, UPSC haven't asked question from this portion for last 10, 12 years, but definitely we are going to discuss about that. Now, the reason why Parsons initially focused on the social action approach was he was a big fan of Max Weber, and most of Max Weber's works were translated into English by Parsons. Okay, so Parsons wanted to follow the same path followed by Weber, but in between he got deviated. That is the major issue. Okay, so according to Parsons, when it comes to that of the social action, it is different from that of Weber because Weber considered social action as a meaningful act oriented towards others. Now, Parsons went a step further and he said that it is a meaningful and conscious response of the actor to the external stimuli after cognitizing, evaluating, and understanding the situation. Okay, so he have added certain more terms and elements in between when it comes to or when you consider or compare it with that of the Weber's definition of social action. So what does he mean when he say that it is a conscious response of the actor after cognitizing, evaluating and understanding the situation? It means that according to Parsons, unlike that of Weber, he said in social action, the actor is not merely responding to the external stimulus, but he is also considering, or he or she is also considering other aspects. What are the other aspects? That is the societal aspects. Meaning, according to Parsons, an actor is also influenced by the norms and values of society apart from the meanings that the actor attaches to the action. Because Weber only considered the meanings that the actor attaches to their action, right? He did not consider the role of social structures or social institutions when it comes to an individual actor's action. Now, Parsons is trying to also include that of the social structures as well as the role of norms and values of society in influencing the action of actors. Now, that is why, according to Parsons, when it comes to that of the social action, he said that there are three major elements when it comes to that of a social action. What are those important elements when it comes to social action? There is an actor, right? And for every actor, they want to, what is the purpose of doing an action? They want to meet a purpose, right? Or in every action, they are looking for gratification. Gratification means they want to somehow meet certain needs, right? So as a result, in every actor's action, there is another component that is the goal, right? So there is an actor who is doing the action, and for actor, they have certain purpose or they are looking for gratification by doing the action. As a result, we can say that along with actor, there is also goal. And along with the goal, in order to reach that goal, there are several different set of means that is available to the actor. So there is an actor, for their actions, there is a particular goal, and in order to reach the goal, there are different set of means that is present before the actor. Now, according to Parsons, when it comes to that of the selection of means, This is where the cognitizing, evaluating and understanding the situation becomes important, because as there are different types or alternatives of means available to the actor will evaluate each and every means based on two factors, that is the situational constraints of the actor as well as the normative constraints of the society. Situational constraints and the normative constraints. Is it clear? Okay. So what is cognitizing, evaluating and understanding the situation? It means that the actor is evaluating actor's own situation as well as actor is evaluating the norms of the society, norms and values of the society. Is it clear? So that is why we say that there is a kind of influence of social structure on each and every actor's action. Now let us take an example here. Suppose, say you want to, prepare for civil services. Suppose there is a person, an actor who want to prepare for civil services exam, and the actor is residing in a rural area and the actor is a female. Okay, and actor also comes from the lower class as well as lower caste. These are the situations. Okay, so an actor wants to prepare for civil services, actor belongs to a rural area, actor is a female, then actor belongs to that of lower caste as well as lower class. Now what are the, for the actor's action, the goal is to get into civil services. There are several means available before the actor to actually reach the goal, right? Excuse me. So what are the several means available for that particular actor to prepare for civil services and as well as to get into civil services? They can do their preparation, either they can go for self study, right? Okay, or they can go to Delhi, or they can go to their regional center, or group study, or they can actually go for online coaching. Okay, these are the several means available in front of the actor to reach their goals. Now, according to Parsons, each and every actor, even though there are alternatives, they will be analyzing each and every option, right? Now, how will they analyze? Based on the situational as well as the normative constraints. Now, here, when it comes to each and every option, let's try to understand that. First, let's take the online option, right? Now, online option may not be feasible because the actor belongs to the rural area and the internet connection may not be proper. As a result, that may not be a right option for the actor. Now, here, what is affecting the actor's choice of the means? It is the situational constraint, right? Now, next is the actor may opt for group study. Like there can be other students who are preparing in that area. The actor may go to that particular group and do combined study. But the problem here is sometimes there can be male and female, and that may lead to a situation where it will be a kind of a mixed group. And due to the norms of the society, it may not be promoted, because if suppose the society to which the actor belongs is a patriarchal society, is a traditional society, they may not favor such kind of group study, right? As a result, due to the normative structure of society, that option may not be available for the actor. Next is they may go to the regional centers or they may go to Delhi. Now, for both of these options, it is expensive. As a result, the actor, due to the financial constraints, that is again the situational constraint of the actor may not choose these two options. Now, the final option that is available before the actor is to do self-study. Now, according to Parsons, even though there is an actor and the actor is consciously, selecting the means, but the selection of such means are dependent largely on the situational and the normative constraint. As a result, Parsons say that the action of an actor is not taken in free will. Instead, it is influenced by society. Is it clear? This is where social action of Parsons and Weber largely differ, because according to Weber, in social action, the individual actor attaches meaning and the action is based on free will of the actor. right? There is no, or Weber is not considering the influence of society or any other constraints that is there on the actor. Clear? Have you understood the concept? Okay. So this is the social action approach of Parsons and how it is different from Weber, because Weber is only considering the meanings and not considering the social aspects. Clear? Okay. Ah. Yeah, correct. See, whenever you are writing the criticisms of the social action approach of Parsons, you can definitely bring Weber there. Because, see, for every concept, you can see that there will be different thinkers having diverse viewpoints or, contradicting viewpoints, right? So, you can mention those thinkers and their contradicting viewpoints as criticism. Say, for example, if suppose you are writing about alienation, you can bring Max Weber there because Max Weber said that alienation is not caused due to the economic system, but instead it is caused due to increasing rationality. Yeah, correct. Right. So that is how you have to write. Now, according to Parsons, now thing is, Parsons' theory of social action is also referred to as the voluntaristic theory of social action. But it is not voluntaristic in the sense that it is free will, but according to Parsons, it is voluntaristic because here the actor is actually evaluating the situation and normative constraints, right? It is not being forced upon the actor, but actor himself or herself chooses the particular means based on their own evaluation of their situational as well as normative constraints. For example, suppose you want to go for a particular kind of course after your graduation. Suppose you completed your graduation and you want to pursue higher studies. Now there are multiple options in front of you, like you can go to a foreign university and do your higher studies, right? You can write a particular entrance examination to get yourself placed in a premier institute of our country. Likewise, there are multiple options in front of you, right? But the selection of the means or selection of whether you want to go for foreign studies or whether you want to go for, the domestic or our national universities, it all depends on the constraints that you have, right? So we cannot say that it is completely, the actions are completely taken at free will, but at the same time, we cannot say that the society is forcing something on the individual. Rather, it is a mix. Individual is selecting the option, but they are selecting that option based on the evaluation of constraints. Clear? That is why it is referred to as the voluntaristic theory of social action. Clear? So, as we have covered this, let's now move on to different types of actions. Now, according to Weber, there are 4 different types of social actions. What are these? Goal-oriented rational action, which is Zweck rational action, value-oriented rational action, emotional action, and traditional action. These are the 4 different types of action as mentioned by Weber. Now, according to Parsons, he said that there are 2 different types of orientations that is present when it comes to understanding the types of action by actor. Now, what are those 2 different types of orientation? One is the motivational orientation of an actor, and the second is the value orientations of society. Motivational orientation of actor means what the actor wants to, what is the purpose of action from the actor's point of view, right? The gratification that the actor is trying to achieve through that action. So that is the motivational aspect, meaning the individualistic aspect of the actor while selecting a particular or while doing a particular action. So that is referred to as the motivational orientation. So motivational orientation involves only the motives or psychological aspects of the individual, while the value orientation involves the cultural system, meaning in a particular action, when we are trying to understand the types of social action, we need to understand it is not just the subjective or the individual motivations of the actor behind the action, but the society's values and norms are also influencing the actor's choice of action. Now, that is covered under the value orientation, because every time, every single actor, when they are doing a particular action, they actually evaluate the society's norms and values, right? The kind of job that you want to select is largely determined and influenced by the values of the society, right? You will always be trying to select such jobs that society values as good, right? Suppose you have a particular knack for doing robbery, But will you select that as your job? Never. Because why? Society's values and norms does not allow such kind of jobs, and they consider such jobs as negative jobs, right? They do not attach values to such jobs, right? So as a result, you will be selecting such jobs which the society consider as good, which the society attaches high value and status. Yeah, correct. Choosing white collar jobs. Like in India, there is this, tendency for every student to go for professional courses. Why? Because the society's norms and values places higher value on white collar jobs as well as, gold collar jobs, right? Government jobs, right? So that is the reason why there is increasing demand for government jobs in India, because society attaches high value to it, right? Yeah. Hmm. No. See, basically, in Weber's theory of social action, action is highly subjective. That is why he wanted to study social action using the first-hand approach, right? First-hand approach tries to understand the meanings that each actor attaches to their action. Thereby, the study is subjective in nature. But when it comes to Parsons, he is not making it subjective, because according to Parsons, an actor's action is largely determined by the society. As a result, that does not make it subjective, right? Right. It is, see, basically, it goes like this, where according to Parsons, even though actor may feel that the actor is taking the action or choosing the means based on their own free will, but in reality, it is not the case. Instead, the actors are influenced by the societal values and norms. Now, societal values and norms are not subjective, right? As a result, Parsons' theory of social action cannot be considered as a subjective theory. Now, that is also a criticism where Parsons have said to subordinate the individual to that of the cultural system or to that of the society. He does not give emphasis on the individual agency when it comes to social action. Now, that is also not right, because in certain cases, even when the society goes against or society's values and norms are against, individual may still choose to do such kind of actions. Say, for example, all those revolutionaries, right? All those people who have brought changes in society, like say, for example, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, right? At that particular point of time, when he wanted to ban sati, the entire society was against him. He was ousted from his own home, right? But still, he was adamant to, bring that change in society. Now, when you consider that of the norms of society and the, normative orientation, definitely Raja Ram Mohan Roy shouldn't have or wouldn't have done that, right? But he still did that because he was moving away from the norms and values of society. So such kind of influence of individual agency on social action was not considered by Parsons. Now, see, basically Parsons, no, functional prerequisites is different. Okay, we are not yet there to connect functional prerequisites with that of the social action, because in social action he was focusing on the individual action. In functional prerequisites and the social system is focusing on a different thing that we'll connect later once we reach that particular portion. Okay. Now, for time being, we need to understand what is social action and what are the different aspects of social action. Okay. There is connection between the two, but it's not like in order to explain social action, Parson did not bring social system. Okay, it's two different type of theories. Now, even though Parsons say that there is motivational orientation or the individual aspect as well as the value orientations, according to Parsons, even the individual orientations are influenced by the value orientation of society. See, your preferences are not exactly your preferences according to Parsons. It is largely determined by society. Right? Now, it's a simple thing. Consider your reason for or your aim to select civil services as your career. Now, is it completely your own decision? It is also influenced by the society, right? Because in society, civil services is given higher status. As a result, definitely you have a certain inclination towards civil services. So that is why Parsons said that even the individual motivational orientations are also influenced by society's value orientations. Is it clear? Okay. Now let us try to understand the types of action based on individual as well as motivational as well as value orientations. Parsons combined these two orientations and he mentioned that there are three types of actions, which is instrumental action, expressive action, and moral action. Now the instrumental action of Parsons is similar to that of the rational actions of Weber. Weber tried to differentiate between goal-oriented rational action and value-oriented rational action. Parsons did not go for such kind of differentiation. Instead, according to Parsons, there is instrumental action here. The goals as well as the means are selected on a basis of rational basis. So, such kind of actions are referred to as instrumental action. Here, the aim is to get to the goal by using the best means, meaning that there is application of rationality, right? Now, expressive actions is similar to that of the emotional action of Weber. Here, the major reason for action is for emotional gratification, right? For meeting the emotional needs. Such kind of actions are referred to as expressive action. And moral action meaning it is similar to that of the traditional action of Weber. Here, the major aim is, yeah, to actually conform to the customs of society, to the traditions of society. So what is considered to be good and bad by the society, when we are following that, when we are committing to that, then we can say that such kind of actions are moral actions. Here the aim is to uphold the customs and traditions of society. Clear? Right. Now let us again go to pattern variables. Now Parsons was highly criticized for you know undermining the individual agency and giving more emphasis on the societal or the cultural aspect. Now that is the reason why Parsons came up with pattern variables. He said that for every actor there are two sets of choices that the actor can choose from, now which he termed as pattern variables. Now what are pattern variables and what are the different sets of choices that is available before the actor? Now, in pattern variables, you need to understand that there are 5 different options. One is effectivity versus effective neutrality, universality versus particularism, achievement versus ascription, then self-orientation versus collective orientation, and specificity versus diffusiveness. Now here you need to also understand that one side of this particular pattern variable represent the traditional society and the other side, according to Parsons, represent the modern society. Now let us try to understand that as well. So what are the different sets? First is uh, effectivity. What do you mean by effectivity? Emotional. Yeah, emotional component. See, basically, when it comes to effectivity, you need to understand that here the actors are actually trying to, get emotional gratification. If suppose in their relations, in their actions, if they are focusing on getting the emotional gratification, we can say that the relations are effective in nature. Say, for example, relation between friends, relation between the parents and children, right? All these actions or all these relations are effective relations. But at the same time, there can be certain relations which is effective. Effective neutrality means there can be certain relations where the emotional aspect is neutral in nature. Say for example, student-teacher relations are effective neutral relations, right? Here the student may not consider, see definitely student teacher must consider all the students as equal, and the kind of the emotional bonding is not similar to that of friends or parents, right? So they will be keeping a particular kind of distance with the students so that their relation remains effective neutral. So the employer and the employee relation, that is also effective neutral, right? There is no high level of emotional bonding between them. Their relations are to larger extent to meet the goals of that particular organization, right? So that is the difference between effectivity and effective neutrality. Second is collective orientation and self orientation. So what is collective orientation? It means you are giving emphasis on the society as a whole, as a group as a whole, right? So you are not giving more emphasis on your own interest, rather you are trying to give more emphasis on the interest of the society as a whole. This is known as collective orientation. Okay, so what is self orientation? Here, instead of giving more emphasis on the needs of the society as a whole, you are giving more emphasis on your own personal needs. Now that is known as self-orientation. You are self-oriented, meaning you give more emphasis on your own needs rather than understanding or trying to give emphasis to the needs of society. Next is particularism and universalism. So what is the difference between particularism and universalism? See, basically in particularism or particular values or particularistic values, here you consider or attach values based on certain particular aspects, like say for example, inside a family, right? Each and every individual is given a kind of importance or value, sometimes based on their age, based on their seniority, right? So inside the family, we say that it is particularistic values because suppose a parent, consider a parent and children, right? Parents give more value to their children compared to the children of their neighbors, right? See, all are not treated equally, right? A parent will definitely treat their own children differently from others' children. Now, likewise, if we are treating different groups differently, then we can say that it is particularistic values that is being followed there, right? Now, on the other hand, when it comes to universalistic values, here we will be treating everyone equally. Suppose, say for example, in a classroom, a teacher must consider all students as same, right? So there the teacher is following the universalistic values. Or suppose a particular judge, okay, must attach universalistic values, right? All the people who are coming before the judge as part of the proceedings must be considered to be equal. They should not give more emphasis or more importance to a particular group over the others, right? If that is done, then the justice system will not remain equal. So universal means everyone is treated equally. Particularism means different groups are treated on different basis. Now next is ascriptive. Yeah. No. See, basically the type of actions that we choose can be classified into two. Right. The actor's action can be classified based on the kind of orientations that they are following. Suppose the actor's action. Suppose I'll give you an example. When it comes to that of this side, okay, here the actors actions are mostly oriented towards emotional gratification. Let's take the rural areas. Okay, we say that in rural areas mostly the relations are more effective, right? There is no neutrality, everyone is, there is a higher level of emotional bonding. Now compare that with the urban areas. The actions taken by people residing in urban areas are mostly effective neutral. There is a level of, impersonal relations are there, right? There is no high level of emotional bonding in urban areas is what we usually say, right? So this is how we classify the actions. So the actors, based on the actions that they are choosing, we can classify them. Suppose if the actors are giving more orientation towards that of the needs of society, right, rather than giving more emphasis on the needs of their own individual aspects or needs, then we can say that they are following collective orientation, right? A same action cannot be classified into two. An actor's action can be either considered to be on this side of the, this pattern variable, or on the right side of the pattern variable. The same action cannot be divided into two, right? Yeah, see, basically, thing is, okay, a single action, we need to consider it like this. Suppose here, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to find out, or we are trying to analyze how the action may vary, right? Those people who are in similar situation, similar background, may opt for different types of actions based on their own orientations, right? That is what we are trying to analyze through pattern variables. right? A person belonging to lower caste, lower class, female, residing in urban area and residing in rural area. Now, their condition are almost same. The only difference is one is residing in urban area, the other one is residing in rural area, may opt for two different set of actions. So there is variety in actions based on certain elements. That is what we are trying to understand in pattern variable. Okay. Okay, one more thing. See, thing is, uh, see, depending on my background, okay, I may either go for the left side actions or the right side actions. Okay, suppose as I've mentioned, I as a person uh, largely wants to avoid, close social interactions. Okay, so my actions will be largely one is effective neutral action. My action again, second thing will be self-oriented because I want to largely avoid these kind of social interactions. Okay. Third is I will be following universalistic values because I will not be giving that kind of separate treatment for different groups. I will be considering everyone as the same. So this is what we are trying to understand because depending upon from where you come, like whether you belong to the traditional society or you belong to the modern society, the kind of actions that you opt for also changes. Okay. So those belonging to the traditional society may be following these set of actions and those belonging to the modern society will be following these set of actions according to Parsons. Hmm. Not necessarily. There is a possibility, but not necessarily. See, these types of or sets of actions are not interconnected, meaning your single action may not exhibit the features of all five different, choices or five different aspects in pattern variable. Suppose, say for example, uh, you have waste in your home. Okay, you are residing in an urban center. You have got some waste. There is no one to collect the waste. Okay, now you are going outside and you are dumping the waste in a public place. Now here, when it comes to that of the action, we cannot say particularistic values are there. There is effectivity involved in there. There is only one thing, that is there is self-orientation. Right. So that action can be said or can be said to be a self-oriented action. You cannot say that there is elements of effectivity, there is elements of universalism or any sorts of things. It's just a self-oriented action. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. See, basically, if a judge, suppose treats his or her son differently from other people, and say for example, if the son has committed a crime and the judge gave a pronouncement that they haven't committed the crime, there is no proof to say that they have committed the crime. Now, this instance, you can say that it is mostly particularistic. Here, in more than effectivity, that emotional bonding, here the judge is treating people differently. Right. Those who are close to the judge is given a different treatment compared to others who are not close or not related to the judge. So here, even though an element of effectivity is there, but largely the action can be understood through particularism and universality. Clear? So that is how we need to understand that. Now the next set is ascriptive versus achievement. Now, ascriptive versus achievement orientation, meaning when it comes to a particular set of actions or particular set of things, if the values followed there is ascriptive in nature, meaning we are giving importance based on certain statuses that is fixed by the birth, like that of age, caste, etc., then we can say that ascriptive values are followed. Now, on the other hand, if a person is treated purely based on their performance, then we can say that achievement is given more importance. Suppose a selection is made based on a person's caste or person's family, right? if suppose in case of movies, we say that there is nepotism, right? Meaning that is an example of ascriptive value, where the person is given importance or person is given that particular task because they belong to a particular family, right? Now, achievement means here, so here the person will not be given any consideration for the family that they belong to, the caste that they belong to, or any other aspects, but the selection will be purely based on their achievement or performance. Say, we can say that in civil services exam, we can say that largely selection is achievement oriented, right? Your family or anything else doesn't matter. And finally, diffusive versus specific. So specificity versus diffusiveness. So what do you mean by diffusive and specificity? Suppose the relations are not limited to a particular aspect. Like say for example, if you go to a doctor, the relation is not just fixed when it comes to treatment of diseases, but that relation is beyond that. Meaning that doctor is also your mentor, gives life advices to you, gives, all other sorts of career guidance and stuff, then that relation is not specific, right? It is diffusive, meaning it's not just merely a doctor-patient relation, instead it is much broader than that. So if the relations are more diffuse, more broader, so there we can say that there is diffusiveness in that set of values. Or specificity, meaning here the relations or the actions are more specific, in the sense when you go to a doctor, it is merely, or the major aim is to treat the diseases. You will not be discussing your career, you will not be discussing the problems in your life, any other aspect. It is just merely related to that of treatment of diseases. Now here the relations are more specific. Okay. Now this is the two sets of actions that the Parsons said are available in front of the actor. And according to Parsons, selection of these two sets of actions are based on, again, society to which you belong. According to Parsons, if you belong to the traditional society, your selection of actions will be effective collective orientation, particularistic, ascriptive, as well as diffusive. So most of the relations will be diffusive. You will be searching for ascriptive values rather than for the performance or achievement. You will be giving emphasis on particularism. There will be more emphasis on collective orientation. So likewise, the actions of the actor will be of these sorts. Now, on the other hand, if you belong to the modern society, according to Parsons, your actions will be largely effective neutral. Self-orientation will be given more emphasis. Universalistic values will be followed. Achievement will be given more importance, and the relations will be more specific in nature. Okay. So, suppose if UPSC asks you to apply this in various different situations, you have to consider these 5 different alternatives, whether it is traditional or modern society. Suppose UPSC wants to apply this in case of, say, um, a relation between a teacher and student, or a relations in a college, right? So if relations in a college are asked to be analyzed through the pattern variables, what you need to do is you have to understand, right? If the colleges is running on the traditional values, there will be effective relations between the teachers and students, right? There can be collective orientation. Instead of focusing on one's own performance, the students will try to help each other. They will have the collective orientation. Particularism, meaning students or the teachers may consider each and every student based on the particularistic values, right? All will not be treated equally. Ascriptive, meaning they will be giving importance or emphasis on the caste, the family background, etc. of the students. And finally, diffusive means the relation is not merely based on a teacher-student relation, it is much broader. They will be giving all other kinds of advices and stuff, not be related to or limited to teaching. But if they are following the modern values, the relation or the emotional bonding will not be there. It will be effective neutral. They will be giving self-orientation. Each and every student will be focusing on their own performance rather than helping others. Universalistic values means teachers will consider all students equally. They will not be given any differential consideration. Achievement oriented means students will be treated based on the kind of performance that they showcase in exams. Their academic performance will be given importance. Specificity means the relation is specific and limited to that of teaching and learning. Clear? Okay. Now from there, let's move on to, so see, how is pattern variables and social action connected? Because the reason why Parsons came up with pattern variables was because he was criticized that he is not giving emphasis on individuals. So through pattern variables, Parsons initially wanted to mention that individuals can choose their actions. There are two sets of actions and individual can choose. Now that selection, according to Parsons, will be voluntarily done by the individual. There will not be any other influence. But when ultimately explained about pattern variables, he ended up by saying that it is not purely that the individuals select that action, it is also influenced by society. Meaning, if you are part of the traditional society, largely your actions will be belonging to that of the left side, and if you are part of the modern societies, your actions will be, more likely to be in the sense of like the right hand side actions will be taken. Clear? Now let us focus on the systems approach. Now, this is where UPSC will be asking questions. Okay, the other part, the actions approach, I haven't seen the questions being asked by UPSC since last 10, 12 years or even beyond that. Now, see, Parsons, that is criticized for creating grand theories, right? So Parsons shifted his focus from micro aspects, right? In social action, it is micro. Why do we say that social action is micro? Because we are focusing on individual actions, right? Now, after the social action approach, Parsons shifted his focus from learning micro aspects to that of the macro level things. Okay. Now, when he wanted to learn macro level things, Parsons wanted to create a theory that could explain all different types of social phenomena. A single theory that can explain everything. A comprehensive theory that can be used to understand, study, and explain everything. That was Parsons' aim. That is why he is criticized for creating grand theories. You might have come across that term, right? C.W. Mills criticized Parsons because Parsons' theories, according to C.W. Mills, were grand theories where Parsons is trying to create an over-encompassing or all-encompassing theory that could explain everything, which is not possible in sociology. So, systems approach, the basic idea or the basic motivation of Parsons is to create a theory that can explain everything. You need to understand that. Okay. Now, there is no proper connection between the social action theory and the social system approach of Parsons because the social action theory was discussed by Parsons early in his career when he was largely influenced by Weber. Okay. The social systems approach came later during his career where he shifted his focus completely from studying micro aspects as how Weber did to that of learning macro aspects. He went a step further to actually create a theory that could explain everything. So it's not merely a macro study, but he wanted to bring out a theory which can be universal, which can explain everything. Clear? So now let us understand what is his systems approach and what is his systems theory. According to Parsons, a system meaning it is nothing but a interrelated whole. So what is system? It is a interrelated whole. Now what do you mean by interrelated whole? Yeah. See, according to Parsons, system meaning there are subsystems or various subcomponents. Okay. What is subsystem? System consists of various subcomponents or subparts. Suppose let us take the example of computer. We usually refer to computer as a system, right? Now, why computer can be treated as a system? One is a computer have several different components. It should have a monitor, it should have keyboard, it should have mouse or tracking pad, then CPU, right? Speaker. So there are different sets of components or subparts, right? When it comes to a computer. Now, when does we call it or when do we call it as a system? It is not merely the presence of subparts, but these subparts are interconnected or interrelated. Meaning, if a computer needs to work efficiently, then there should be proper connection between or there should be a coordination between different parts of that particular computer. Right? The monitor, keyboard, mouse, the software, the CPU, everything should work integrated. Right? Only then it becomes a system. Is it clear? So, according to Parsons, these systems, okay, where it is an interrelated whole, you need to understand that as it is a system, okay, Parsons say that changes in one part of the system will lead to changes in other parts of the system, right? See, basically, if suppose there is a change in the CPU, right? Related changes can be seen in other components of the computer, right? There can be changes in the software, there can be changes in the monitor that we use. So changes in one part of the system will lead to changes in other parts of the system according to Parsons. So I'm just explaining the characteristics of system here. One is system is a interrelated whole. It consists of subparts. Each subpart is interconnected. They are working in an integrated way, and changes in one part of the system will lead to changes in other parts of the system. Clear? Also, according to Parsons, each and every system exists in an environment, right? System is not existing in a vacuum, right? Instead, it is existing in a particular environment. Say, suppose this computer, it is existing in an environment. This classroom, right, is its environment. Similarly, a society is also existing in an environment. Indian society is existing in an environment, right? Everything outside Indian society is our environment. A human being is existing in an environment. Similarly, a system is also existing in its environment. And according to Parsons, the relationship between the system and its environment can be considered to be a symbiotic relationship. Why do we say that it is symbiotic relationship? Because there is a mutual give and take relation between them, meaning a system can alter and influence its environment. Similarly, the changes in environment can also alter the system, right? That is why we say that there is a mutual give and take relation between the system and its environment. And finally, according to Parsons, a system is existing in a state of equilibrium, and there is an equilibrating tendency within the system. Now, what do you mean by equilibrating tendency within the system? According to Parsons, when the changes happen in the system will lose its equilibrium, right? So, in order to bring back the equilibrium, all different parts of the system will make adjustments and thereby will make the system or will bring back the equilibrium in the system. Okay. So, see, basically, when it comes to that of the system and how the equilibrium get affected, suppose there is one change or a change is introduced in a part of the system. Suppose, let us take a real example. COVID-19 affected all the countries in the world, right? Due to COVID-19, what happened? The equilibrium of the society and the system has lost, because till then we were following a particular kind of routine, right? But then suddenly COVID-19 occurred, lockdown was there, no one is allowed to go out of the home. As a result, everything changed. Now this brought disruption in the system. Now, how did system manage to bring back the equilibrium in such a case? All other subsystems, right, changed based on the changes that has happened in the system. Meaning, as and when the COVID-19 occurred, we started moving digital. Education became digital, health system became digital, governance became digital, everything else became digital, and as a result, we were able to bring back the equilibrium in the system. So how does the society or a system brings equilibrium? It is through the subsystems making adjustments to bring back equilibrium. Clear? So these are the major features of a system according to Parsons. Is there any doubt, anyone? Okay. Now let us further try to understand what is the AGIL model and the functional prerequisites. Now here you shouldn't connect it with the social action, instead try to understand the systems approach, where Parsons is trying to learn everything as a system. Now according to Parsons, here as we have mentioned that system is an interrelated whole consisting of subparts, and we have also discussed how equilibrium is brought back into the system when it is lost, right? Now this tendency of a system to bring back the equilibrium is known as self-equilibrating tendency. Okay. Now according to Parsons, now when it comes to that of a system, we said that there are several subsystems involved in a system. What is the purpose of these subsystems, or why are they existing? According to Parsons, each of the subsystems are existing because they are performing certain functions for the system. As they are performing the functions for system, these subsystems are functional in nature. Now this is similar to that of the functionalist view, because when it comes to that of the functionalist perspective, they say that all social institutions in the society are functional to the society. Why? Because these institutions are performing some important functions for the society. Similarly, Parsons say that when it comes to that of the subsystems or the subparts of the system, it is all performing certain important functions for the society. Now, as they are performing these functions, the system is able to move forward. If these subsystems are not there, these functions may not be performed. As a result, the system will not be able to continue. According to Parsons, for every system to survive, right, there are certain basic needs that needs to be met. Okay, for every system, for human body, there are certain basic needs, right? We need to have proper food, water, right? We need to have a secure shelter, otherwise we won't be able to sustain. We need to sleep, right? So likewise, there are certain basic needs for every system which needs to be met. Who meets these systems, or sorry, who meets these needs? According to Parsons, it is the subsystems that meets the basic needs of the society. Are you getting the point? Okay. So I want you to think in these lines. One is why the subsystems are existing, because it is performing certain functions or it is meeting certain needs of the system. Now, according to Parsons, there are certain basic needs of the system that must be met for the system to survive. Now, these needs are met by the subsystems itself, and these needs are referred to as the functional prerequisites. Are you getting the point? Okay. So for a system to survive, basic needs must be met. These basic needs are referred to as functional prerequisites, and who are meeting these functional prerequisites? It is by the subsystems or the subparts. Clear? Okay. Now, what are these basic needs of the system? Parsons classified it into four, which is adaptation, then goal attainment, integration, and latency. Now, according to Parsons, adaptation is nothing but these needs are, what is adaptation requirements, or what is adaptation? It allows the systems to adapt with its environment, right? So the adaptation function or the adaptation need of a system means this adaptation will help the system to survive because it helps the systems to adapt with its environment. So such functions are known as adaptation functions. What is goal attainment function? For every system to survive, they need to meet the goals. right? So every system will attach or will be fixing certain goals, and such goals needs to be met. That function is known as the goal attainment function. Integration means there should be subsystem integration, because we already mentioned that for a system to survive, or a system is actually a interrelated whole, meaning there should be integration between various subsystems. Now this is integration function. Now what is latency? For the system to survive, for the systems to go forward, for better integration of the system, there should be common values in the system. Now the latency function helps in spreading common values in the system. Clear? So I'll repeat it once again. Adaptation helps the systems to adapt with its environment. Goal attainment helps the systems to achieve the goals set by it. When it comes to integration, it helps in the subsystem integration, meaning all different parts of the system will be integrated through the integration function. And latency means for the smooth functioning of the system, for the smooth survival of the system, there should be common values that needs to be spread. Now that is the latency function. Is it clear? Now let us first consider or apply the systems theory into individual action, right? Because Parsons started his theories by mentioning about social action. So let us try to understand a social action by applying the systems approach. Okay, so as you all know, when it comes to social action, there is an actor, right? Actor have a goal, and there is situational and normative constraints. So when you consider an individual action, what will be, or what performs adaptation function? Who performs the adaptation function? Now in a social action, there is an actor, right? Actor is a biological organism. So that is why we say that when it comes to an individual social action, the adaptation function is done by the behavioral organism, because it is the actor or that human body, that particular organism, that adapts it to environment, right? Right? As an actor, or as an individual, I do the adaptation with my environment. Hmm. Now, what he's trying to do is, this systems approach means it is an approach or a tool that can be applied to analyze any aspect, anything, right? So, this systems approach can be applied to study an individual social action. The systems approach can also be applied to study society as a whole. Are you getting the point? So, the systems approach is nothing but a kind of a tool that can be used to study and analyze everything. Suppose if I want to apply systems approach in this institute, right? How is this institute able to adapt to its environment? What helps this institute to adapt to this environment? It is the building, right? This infrastructure. See, whenever you are trying to understand the adaptation function, adaptation is mostly based on resources, right? But when it comes to an individual, our adaptation is done by our body. That is why in a single social action, we say that adaptation function is done by the behavioral organism, that is the individual organism actor. But if you consider a society as a whole, the adaptation function will be done by the resources aspect. Here, in a society, what helps in adapting that society to its environment? It is the economic system, because it helps in bringing resources. Similarly, for this institute, you have to understand that the adaptation of this institute, right, is done by the infrastructure, the resources that this institute have. Without the resources, we will not be able to adapt to this environment, right? Clear? Now, who performs the goal attainment function of this institute? Management, meaning, okay, the overall people who are behind decision making, right, will be deciding regarding the goals, will be directing others towards achieving these goals, right? So the management function, or the management performs the goal attainment function here. Now what performs the integration function here? Now, students are there in this institute. In order for this institute to survive, there should be integration between the subsystems. Subsystem means here there is, a syllabus is here, books are there, classes are there, students are there, other employees are there. So everything should be integrated. So what brings integration here? Relation. Yeah, integration function, we can say that mostly integration is done through proper rules and regulations. Clear? The rules and regulations helps in bringing integration. So when it comes to integration here, there are certain level of rules that is applicable to the students, that is applicable to the employees, that is applicable to anyone else. Plus, there are certain functions that we actually, arrange here. Festival celebrations, right? Such kind of things also brings everyone together. That also helps in integration, right? So you can say that the celebrations, festivals, plus you can mention the rules and regulations that ensures that everyone is properly integrated. There should not be any confusion. And if someone do anything against that particular rules and regulations, actions can be taken against them, right? So as a result, it ensures that there is proper integration. Now, what brings latency? Latency meaning value generalization. We need to generalize the values. How do we say that? How do we ensure that the values of this institution is maintained? It is through a system of appreciation. It is system of punishments. So those who behave well, those who are actually working towards the values of this institute will be appreciated. They will be given rewards. Say for example, those students who regularly attend the classes, those students who regularly write answers, those who score good marks will be appreciated in the class. And those students who are not attending the class, who are not writing the answers properly, will be criticized in the class. Now, this system of appreciation and criticisms or rewards and punishments will help in maintaining the value of this system, right? Because students know that if we perform like this, then we will be appreciated. If we perform like that, we will be criticized or we will get punishment. Integration and latency differences. Integration here, we are trying to integrate different components by avoiding conflict. Rule based, I said that if they do not meet the rules, they may get punishment. The rules and laws are the integration aspect. The punishment and rewards are not. Latency. Yep. See, in integration, we want to ensure that different subsystems are well integrated. Right? What brings integration? One is there should not be any conflict. What avoids conflict in a system? Likewise, you need to think. What avoids conflict? Laws, rules. Right? What avoids conflict? There should be some level of integration and there should be certain level of functions that promote integration. Right? In latency, we say that it is pattern maintenance, it is value generalization. How will we do that? By rewarding those who are performing towards the values and by punishing those who are moving against the values. In society, education system is part of the latency because it is from the education system that we learn the values and norms of the society. So whatever systems that spreads the values, the norms of the society, that ensures that people are having the similar values are part of the latency. That is why when we consider society as a whole, we say that economy performs the adaptation function, right? In a society, the goals are fixed and the people are directed towards the goals by the political system. It is the government who fixes the goals, the targets and everything. So the political system does the goal attainment function. What performs the integration function? It is the legal system here. It ensures that there is no conflict, there is proper integration between different components of the system. Plus, you can also mention the festivals and other aspects. And finally, what brings in latency? It is family, it is education system, it is the religion. which spreads values of the society. Police is part of the legal system that ensures that there is proper integration, there is no conflict. Clear? So all those systems that spreads values, that generalizes values, can be said to be part of the latency. Clear? The aim is here to ensure that everyone is properly following the pattern. The other aspect, which is the integration function, here the aim is to ensure that there is proper integration, that is, there is no conflict. We definitely need. See, if suppose you are asked about the application of AGIL model in a particular situation, because UPSC have in the past asked such questions. What you need to do is, first you have to mention the AGIL model, what is AGIL and the basic adaptation, goal attainment, integration, latency. Then you should apply whatever scenario which is given in the question to that of AGIL model. There what you need to do is, you have to specifically mention what performs the adaptation function, what performs the goal attainment function, what performs the integration function, and what performs the latency function. That you need to explain. UPSC have asked in the past regarding university as a social system. Clear? Now let us understand how we can apply the social system approach in university. Adaptation. It is done by the syllabus. Right? Syllabus, maybe we can say in the goal attainment function. Adaptation, the university, the college, the fees or the funds, because whenever you are trying to apply the, agile model, adaptation, resources, connect it with resources. That is why in case of society it is economic system. In case of any particular institution, try to focus on the resources. Clear? Say for example a hospital, it is the infrastructure of the hospital. For a university, it is the infrastructure, that is the college building. You can also mention about the funds that they get. When it comes to university, they are collecting the fee, right? They may get grants and financial assistance from the government. That are all the are helping in the adaptation function of a university. Clear? Then next is the goal attainment functions when it comes to university. It is the syllabus, because what is the goal of a university? It is to ensure that the students are able to pass the examination, right? So the syllabus, the examination process, the management, teachers are all helping in the goal attainment function. Progress card, the report card, right? The grading system. These are all helping in what? The goal attainment function. No, adaptation, it was a mistake. That's why I told don't include syllabus in adaptation. Okay. Adaptation mainly focus on the resources. Okay. Clear? Now, what helps the university to do integration? Yeah, you can mention about the cultural programs, dress code. You can mention about the grievance redressal cells, right? Quality, yeah, you can mention about the quality checks and stuff, right? Then student union, yeah, code of conduct. Maybe you can add in values, because it is kind of, yeah, you can either mention in integration. See, there can be overlap when it comes to that of integration and latency. Okay, try maximum to mention those aspects that helps in spreading the values to that of latency, and those that helps in rules, regulations, and integration as such into the integration part. But there can be overlap. For example, code of conduct can also be mentioned in latency because it helps in spreading the values. Okay, so either way it is fine. Then how about when it comes to university, the latency functions are performed by? See, when it comes to latency value generalization, how do we ensure that everyone is following the values? By, rewarding those who are performing the values and by punishing those who are not performing the values. That is how we usually do it, right? correct. Scholarships, right? Scholarships helps in latency. How? Those who are performing well will be given scholarships that actually, motivates others also to perform really well. Attendance requirement, yeah, attendance requirement again. You focus on the rewards and punishments. Okay, rewards and punishments, you can mention about suspension, dismissal, right? That all helps in value generalization, right? Placement cells, you can mention placement cells basically, yeah, you can mention in integration or you can mention in latency. Latency largely, I will say, uh, freshers program, freshers induction program. The aim of freshers induction program is to give the freshers an idea regarding the culture of that particular university, right? So that can be mentioned as part of latency. Code of ethics, the ethical aspects given to the students, ensure that everyone will be having the similar values. There is a proper ethical standards followed in the university. Then punishments and rewards like dismissal, suspension, scholarships, grants, etc. can also be mentioned. Likewise, you can classify. This is how you need to understand the systems. Clear? So, adaptation function of a system, goal attainment function, integration function, and latency. Now, one of the most important thing that you need to understand is the systems approach is a tool that helps us to analyze everything. Whether it is a society, whether it is a classroom, whether it is a college, whether it is a hospital, you can use the systems approach to analyze each and everything. The only thing is you need to understand how to apply this. So for every system, there is adaptation function, integration function, goal attainment function, as well as latency function. Is it clear now? Have you understood the concept? Now, if you have understood the concept, you need not have to study this by heart. Right? Because I've seen that Parsons, mostly everyone is trying to by heart it. They are not understanding the concept. Clear? Any doubt, anyone? All right. All set? Okay. See, basically, I started with explaining that of the system, social action as a system, but I ended up explaining, society as a social system, right? Yeah. We are just trying to apply that of the systems. See, as I've mentioned, we can use systems approach to understand and analyze anything and everything. So if suppose we are applying the systems approach to understand the social action, what will we do? We will try to understand the adaptation function in a social action. We will try to find out the goal attainment function. We will try to find out the integration and latency, right? So let us try to understand that. If you take a single unit of social action, meaning an actor's action, and try to apply the systems approach there, right? See, applying systems approaches, we are trying to analyze that action from by identifying the adaptation, goal attainment, integration, and latency, right? So, in an individual social action, adaptation function is done by the actor himself or herself, body, that biological organism. That's why we say that in a particular social action as a system, the adaptation function is done by the behavioral organism or the organismic system, meaning that organism or the individual. Who does the, okay, sorry. If you see this, then you will just read it out. So, who performs the goal attainment function? Yeah, correct. Meaning an individual's, there is an individual actor. The goal attainment will be done by that particular person itself. And what helps that person to achieve goals? It is their personality system, right? An actor's goals are based on the personality of that actor, right? If suppose I am someone who is having a high achievement orientation, right, that is the level of the psychological aspect that I have, right? Or the personality system wants me to become a high achiever, right? The goals that I am going to set there will also be higher goals. Suppose if I'm lazy, if I don't want to do any kind of stuff, I'm not ready to put in the effort, then the kind of goals that I am going to set will also be like that. So it is the personality system of an actor that performs the goal attainment function, right? If I set a higher goal, then my personality system should make me wake up early in the morning, right? Should make me or motivate me to put in the right amount of effort to achieve such goals. So it is the personality system of the actor that helps in achieving the goals. Now, what helps in the integration of that actor? Consciousness, or rather, in integration means our action is not taking place in isolation, right? Whatever action that I take will be response to others' actions, right? As a result, if my action needs to be integrated, then what helps in that integration? It is the social system, right? Because the actions that I take should be integrated with the larger social system, right? My action should not be deviating from the larger social system. If I do that, I'll get isolated. So what ensures that my actions are integrated? It is the social systems, including the family, religion, the norms and values, and all the stuff of society. So the social institutions or the social system ensures that my action is integrated, because my action should not be a larger deviation from the action of others, because I may get isolated in that case. So actions are integrated by the social system. Now, what spreads the values? Before taking the action, we already discussed that the value orientations are important, because our actions are largely influenced by the values of the society. So, what spreads the values of society? It is the cultural system, religion, right? So, that can be mentioned there. Now, that is how we apply the systems approach here. Now, let us understand that once again. When you take an individual social action, if you apply the systems approach, the adaptation function is done by the individual, that is the biological, that organism. Second is the goal attainment function is done by the personality system of the individual. Here it is related to the individual. Right. Now, second, integration, because our action is not isolated. It is mostly a reaction to others' action. So, in order to ensure that our actions are integrated, it is done by the social system. Social system help us to integrate our action with the actions of others. And finally, what ensures that there is a value generalization, there is a pattern maintenance, it is the values. So, our actions are also influenced by the values. Who spreads the values? It is the cultural system, mainly religion. Clear. Now, based on this, Parsons said that by applying the systems approach, we will be able to study different subjects. Now, which subjects deals with biological organism? Biology, right? What deals with the personality system? Psychology. What deals with the social system? Sociology. And what deals with the cultural system? Anthropology. So here what Parsons tried to do was, he was trying to, by taking an individual social action, he said that we are dealing with several different subjects. So by using the systems approach, it is a comprehensive approach where we can study biology, psychology, anthropology as well as sociology. Now this is the reason why his theories was criticized for being grand, because he is trying to explain everything using the same theory, right? So according to him, each of these represents the subject matter of different subjects. Subject matter of biology is organismic system. Subject matter of psychology is personality system. Subject matter of sociology is social system. And subject matter of anthropology is cultural system. Is it clear? Now he wanted to study about social system, and he mentioned that when it comes to the social system, see, here we have to understand this in a conceptual level. Okay. If you want to understand this at a conceptual level regarding that of the social system, Parsons say that when it comes to social action, okay, it is individualistic in nature, right? Now, Parsons say that we cannot study a single social action because if you just study a single social action, we will not get the whole picture because mostly social action is response to the social action of others, right? My action will be a response of others' actions. So that means there are set of actions. These set of actions are known as interactions. The term itself mentions that interactions, meaning a set of interrelated actions. My action will bring another action, reaction from your end, which may bring reaction from another actor. So there is interconnected actions in a system, right? So it is not suggested, or we cannot merely study a single social action because it will not be useful. It will not give us the larger picture. If you want to understand the larger picture, the whole picture, then you have to study interactions. Is it clear? Now, according to Parsons, what is social system? It is nothing but it is a set of patterned network of interactions. Okay, what is social system? It is the patterned network of interactions. Now, what is patterned network of interactions? Meaning, these interactions are patterned in nature. What do you mean by interactions are patterned? See, for that very simple example that you need to consider is the interaction between parents and children are similar, right? Why do we say that the interactions between the parents and children are similar? Because parents are in a dominant position, children are in a submissive position or subordinate position, right? The way children communicate with the parents are mostly the same. If we want to get something, we request them, right? We do not order them, we request them. That is the case in most of the families, right? And if the parents want to get something done by the children, they will order the children to do that. They will try to discipline. So it is always the parents who are trying to discipline the children and not the other way around. So that means the interactions between the children and parents are similar irrespective of the geographical region, irrespective of the class, caste, or anything else, right? It is mostly the same, right? Now, according to Parsons, we can see that most of the interactions in society are patterned in a similar way. The relationship between students and teachers. In Kerala, in Delhi, in West Bengal, in Bihar or in Odisha, everywhere, it is patterned, right? Teachers stand here, take the class, students listen to it, ask the doubts, teachers clear the doubts. If students are not listening, teacher asks them to listen. Right, this is how the relations and interactions keeps on going. Are you getting the point? So this patterned network of interactions make the social system. So any place where there is a patterned network of interactions taking place can be referred to as social system, meaning this classroom is a social system. Here there is a pattern network of interactions. I am taking the class, you are asking questions when you are having doubt, right? So there is a pattern network of relationship here, right? Are you getting the point? Now, next is Parsons wanted to explain. So we started from social action, then we mentioned about interactions, and then we connected that with the social system where what is social system? Patterned network of interactions. So anywhere where there is a pattern network of interactions taking place, we can consider it as a social system. Now next Parsons mentioned that how does this patterning work? Or how did these interactions get patterned? How does it get patterned? In order to explain how these interactions get patterned, Parsons mentioned of the status role complex. What is the status role complex? The status role complex means, according to Parsons, in a society, there are different statuses that an individual hold, and each status will come with several different roles. Suppose I, as a teacher, is a status, right? Based on that status, I have different roles. I have a set of roles towards my students. I have set of roles towards other colleagues that I have. I have set of role towards the parents who actually contact me with regards to the aspects of students. So within a particular status, I will be having several different roles. Clear? Have you got this idea? This is known as the status role complex. So each and every individual plays different or holds different status, and along with each status comes different set of roles. My status as a child of my parents, right? It comes with a lot of different roles. My role as a son, my role as a brother, right? My role as a brother-in-law, my role as a, several different, as an uncle, all comes from my status as my parents' child, right? That is my status, and along with that status comes different set of roles that I need to play. Now, this concept is not actually very important. What follows this is more important to understand the patterning of interactions. Now, according to Parsons, as we know that there are several roles that an individual play. In society, there is role expectation. Okay. Meaning, as there is value consensus in society. What is value consensus? According to Parsons, in every society, people follow similar. There are general values in the society, right? That is followed by every member of the society. As there is value consensus in the society, there is role expectations in society, meaning there is an expectation in the society with regards to each and every role. My role as a teacher, right, is having a certain set of role expectations from you guys, right? You guys expect me to deliver the classes. You guys expect me to teach you things in a simple and easier way, right? So when you guys come for mentorship, you expect me to point out your mistakes and to help you improve your answers. So these are the expectations that you have on teachers, right, to help you study a particular topic effectively. Now, this role expectations are there for every role, meaning as the students have certain expectations on the role of teacher, the teacher also have certain expectations on the role of the students. Because as you expect me to teach things efficiently and effectively, I expect you to learn these things, systematically. Right? Now this creates a situation of role reciprocity. Right? What is role reciprocity? We have mutual expectations based on the roles that we have. It is based on the role expectations. Okay. So there are mutual role expectations that is there. Is it clear? Now, based on these role expectations, as that is, there is reciprocating role, right? There is role reciprocity. It can act as double contingency. What do you mean by double contingency? Meaning, performance of my role as a teacher is dependent on performance of your role as students. Suppose I am holding few sessions and the students' participation for that session is low. What will I do? Right, I will stop holding such sessions, because when students are not participating, when students are not showing interest, then the faculty will also not show the interest, right? So my role's performance is determined by your role's performance, right? Similarly, performance of your role is also determined by performance of my role as a teacher. This is known as double contingency. right? If I am not taking classes properly or efficiently, you as students will also become lazy. You will not focus on the studies. You will not take it seriously, right? Clear? So, suppose a simple example is that of friends. Okay, there are two friends. Performance of the role of each friend is dependent on each other, right? You as a friend tries to reach out your friend every now and then, but they are not responding quite well. What will do? You will stop calling them. You will stop connecting with them, right? But when you call them, they are also showing that similar response. If they are also calling you back, if they are also showing that particular kind of concern and interest, definitely your friendship will be stronger, right? Now, according to Parsons, this double contingency, that is, performance of one role is dependent on the performance of others' role, will create mutual steering mechanism. Meaning, I can influence the way you perform your role. How can I influence the way you perform your role? By putting in more effort. If I put in more effort in this particular, role reciprocity and double contingency, you as students may feel that, okay, as sir is putting more and more effort, it is our responsibility to give back or show back that kind of response. Status means it is, see, uh, my, you know, me as a teacher, okay, my job is a status. Role എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it's not like function, it is, see, for every status there can be different elements to that, right? My career or so my job as a teacher, I have to play different role in that status. So my status is teacher because that is the larger one, and in that status I have to play different roles. There will be a set of roles that I need to play when it comes to that of the students. There is another set of roles that I have with the colleagues. There is another set of roles that I have with your parents. So likewise, there can be different roles attached to a particular status. Clear? See, as I mentioned, it is not very important to understand the difference. You just need to understand the example. What is more important is to understand the role expectations, role reciprocity, double contingency, and mutual steering mechanism. Clear? Mutual steering mechanism means by performing my role in a better way, I can influence you to perform your role in a better way. Suppose there are two friends, right? Suppose I feel that my friend is not, the relationship is actually, growing apart. Okay. So what I can do is, I as a friend can take the initiative and reach out to my friend quite frequently so that at one point my friend will also feel that he or she should also, do the same, right? So I am able to influence another person's performance of their roles by performing my roles in an efficient and effective way. This is known as the mutual steering mechanism. According to Parsons, the pattern network of interactions are occurring in society because of this mutual steering mechanism. Because in every society there is role reciprocity, there is double contingency and mutual steering mechanism. As a result, these interactions are also becoming patterned. Clear? Any doubt, anyone, with regards to this concept? All right. Is it clear? Okay. So, apart from this, we have covered society as a social system. We have mentioned about society, yeah. Yeah. And finally, we have to discuss about the criticism. See, Parsons is easy because you just have to learn social action, social system. Social action is the earlier part, which is not asked by the UPSC. All you need to study more as the social systems approach. It is very easy, right? Characteristics of system. What is the AGIL framework? If you understand the AGIL framework quite well, you can apply it in any instance, whether it is the social action, whether it is society as a system, whether it is institution or healthcare system or anything. Have you got the clarity regarding the concept? Is it clear now? All right. Now, what are the criticisms? It's very easy to understand criticisms of Parsons. Grand theory. C.W. Mills criticized him of making grand theories. It is highly abstract, right? Systems approach is abstract, right? Because it cannot be empirically tested, it cannot be studied statistically. Then third is, you have to also mention that individual is not given importance. Parsons give emphasis only on society. He completely ignores the role of individual. You can say that, yeah, it is different from the theory of Weber, where he gave emphasis on the meanings that the individual actor attaches. You can also mention that when it comes to that of the Parsons theories, he do not actually address social change. His theories are said to be status quoist because he speaks about the system. He said that the system is always in an equilibrium. Smaller changes in system will lead to changes in other parts of subsystems, and thereby equilibrium will be further reinstated. So he is not trying to explain larger levels of changes. See, the kind of changes that Parsons tried to address was the gradual changes that usually happen in the society. So drastic changes, revolutionary changes are not addressed by Parsons. So he is criticized for being status quoist, for not addressing the change. Clear? As well as he did not address conflict in any sense. He said that society is in an equilibrium, it is going forward, it is smooth, stable. He did not address conflict in society. That is why he's not mentioning about dysfunctional aspects. He's always mentioning about the functional aspect. He himself being a functionalist will definitely do that. So that can also be mentioned as a criticism. So major criticism, grand theory, highly abstract, not empirical, not verifiable, not testable, right? Then no individual emphasis. He is completely ignoring individual, giving more emphasis on society and social structure, not addressing change, not addressing conflict. These are the major criticisms. Clear? They try to understand each and every thinker in depth. In depth in the sense, you don't have to drill down when it comes to that of the content. What you need to do is you have to understand the nature of that thinker. If you understand the nature of the thinker, then the criticisms will become much easier for you. Clear? So I hope it is clear to everyone. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we will wind up the session.